Welcome to Variant Edition, your source of comic book news and culture. I'm Mike.
And I'm Lewis. Every week we bring you the best that comics has to offer. On Tuesdays, it's the latest headlines in the world of comics and a sneak peek at what comics you shouldn't miss on Wednesday.
Then later in the week, it's our regular half-hour Variant Edition with more news, reviews, interviews, and, well, basically anything we think is comic book related.
This week, it's a bigger dose of comic book culture than usual.
Yeah, we got a bit more for you, so don't be surprised if this is longer than 5 minutes.
Alright, so sit back and get ready for all the comic knowledge that you need to step into your comic book shop this week.
All of the knowledge?
All the knowledge.
All the knowledge coming your way.
Hi, I'm Nick, and here are your headlines for the week of August 21st, 2007. First up, let's start with some movie news. Photos from a few comic-related projects seem to be popping up on the web in the last few weeks. We just had some Joker pictures from the upcoming Dark Knight a few weeks ago, but the new leaked images give an even better picture of what the Joker might look like. He seems to be wearing makeup, but we're intrigued. Also out on the internet are some on-the-set pics from Wanted, featuring Angelina Jolie hanging out of the front of a Viper with guns in hand. Not bad. The movie has potential, but we'll wait to see it before we judge. In casting news, Scarlett Johansson has signed up for Frank Miller's upcoming Spirit adaptation. She will join Gabriel Macht as the Spirit and Samuel L. Jackson as the Octopus. Let's just hope that Miller's adaptation is faithful to Eisner's original material and not the goddamn Spirit. Back in comic news, it almost seems that the announcements at Wizard World Chicago eclipsed this year's San Diego Comic-Con. Most of the announcements in San Diego seem to relate to high-profile titles or movie-related news. Chicago ends the summer con season and the big publishers weren't afraid to go out with a bang. Marvel announced the return of Mark Millar and Brian Hitch to monthly comics with next year's takeover of the Fantastic Four. Alex Ross is teaming up with his Justice partner, Jim Krueger, to return Captain America to comics. No, not that sort of return, but a full, in continuity and integrated into the Marvel Universe return of the World War II invaders into today's Marvel U. Wow. So expect to see the 40s version of Namor, Cap, Bucky, Human Torch, and Toro finally interacting with today's heroes. Wonder if anyone won't return to the past. Dexter's Laboratory and Samurai Jack creator Genndy Tartakovsky will write and draw Cage, a 4-issue 70s-style action miniseries starring Luke Cage. Invincible co-creator Cory Walker will join Matt Fraction for 3 issues of Punisher War Journal, starting with issue 13. And former partner in crime Robert Kirkman will write the 2008 return of Killraven with art by Rob Liefeld. Guess we'll have to wait and see on that one. DC also has some big news, announcing that Tony Daniel will be taking over as artist on Batman, and kicking off the 8-part Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul that will run through the Bat titles in November and December. And in early 2008, Dustin Nguyen will take over as regular artist on Detective Comics, with Paul Dini continuing as writer. DC also announced Countdown Arena, or as Dan DiDio said, quote, the ultimate fanboy dream book, unquote. Monarch is building an army and is picking the greatest warriors from the multiverse. Speaking of which, the supposed Final Crisis is what Countdown is, counting down to? And Francis Manapul is joining the creative team of Legion of Superheroes. Who's going to write for him? Well, DC is still tight-lipped about that. But his run is set to begin with issue 37. In what may be the most surprising news, DC is adding to its kid-friendly titles. That's right. These will not be animation tie-ins, and seem to skew a little younger than the current DC Kids titles. The new titles will be Billy Batson and the Magic of Shazam, Tiny Titans by Patrick the Wolf Boys art, Baltazar, and Super Friends, which ties into the character designs from the new Mattel toy line. Check out our coverage of Wizard World Philadelphia, where we had a chance to talk to Art Baltazar. And of course, there were more announcements from publishers other than Marvel and DC. Aspen Comics announced Soulfire Volume 2 and reassured fans that the series would ship on time. The series should be about 12 issues and will not ship the first issue until the 5th or 6th is completed. Also of note is that Soulfire New World Order has been postponed until the series is completed, so as to release on time. And Michael Turner will again team up with David Wald to create a new Aspen series that will debut in 2008. Top Cow announced a change in their new pilot season series, which is billed to be a series of one-shots featuring 6 different characters, 2 of which will receive their own series after fans vote on the best books. Previously, Top Cow stated that voting would take place on a number of websites, but said in Chicago that MySpace would be the exclusive home to the voting process. Comics continue to make inroads at MySpace. Interesting. Well, alright, it's not all Chicago hype this week. Last week, the Dabble Brothers and Marvel announced the end of their publishing agreement. The Dabble Brothers have had relations with a number of publishers, and most recently saw the most success with Marvel. The union saw the adaptation of the Anita Blake series to go on to be one of the best-selling graphic novels of the year. In a strange twist, Marvel will retain publishing rights to all the series that they were releasing, including Anita Blake, The Hedge Knight, Magician Apprentice, and Orson Scott Card's Worms. So what's up next for the Brothers Dabble? They're getting back on the horse with a February 2008 adaptation of Dean Koontz's Frankenstein Prodigal Son. The Dabble Brothers have long focused on adapting best-selling novels and attracting big names. Looks like this may be one of the biggest. They have also hinted at more announcements that are sure to come. Well, that's it for the news this week. A little longer than our usual for Tuesdays, but we had a lot to get caught up on. Up next is Lewis with the new releases for this week.
We've got what seems to be a pretty decent release week. I know there are a lot of you out there who have been waiting for Astonishing X-Men. Well, wait no longer. This week sees the release of 22, and if you're a completist, don't forget there are 2 covers. Amazing Spider-Man 543 continues Spidey's descent. Last issue, he took on the Kingpin. This issue, he must deal with the new reality of Aunt May's condition. This is Spidey at its best. Also be on the lookout for Star-Lord number 2, Cable Deadpool 44, Immortal Iron Fist 8, Iron Man 21, The Order 2, Wolverine 56, and X-Men 202. Over at DC, we get a double dose of Batman, with issue 668 and Batman and the Main Man team up with Batman Lobo, Deadly Serious. The Sinestro Corps War continues in Green Lantern Corps 15, and the Outsiders keep the weekly pace with 5-of-a-kind, Metamorpho Aquaman. Oh, and Superman goes old Number of the Beast in Superman 666. Plus, expects to find Birds of Prey 109, The Spirit number 9, and Supergirl and the Legion of Superheroes number 33. Outside of the big 2 is probably the most awaited return, with Mouse Guard Winter 1152 number 1. Which follows up on last year's phenomenon from Archaea Studio Press. But we got a few other cool titles hitting the streets this week. The controversial Black Summer continues with issue 2, Buffy gets his second Omnibus collection, Guy Ritchie's Cool Gamekeeper marches on with issue 4, and The Walking Dead hits issue 40. And things are just getting started in that book. Also, to be on the lookout are Invincible 45, Repo 3, Highlander number 10, Savage Tales 3, and 2 from Ashley Wood, Tank Girl the Gifting number 3, and the Zombies vs. Robots hardcover. Now, if you're into statues, you should find the cool Marvel Zombie Spider-Man and MJ statue, and Bowen's Rogue statue showing up in stores this week. And while it's not an actual comic, Comic Foundry is a new magazine about comics, and the first issue is hitting shops this week. We got an advanced copy, and Kevin should have a full review for us soon. Any first thoughts?
It's better than I was expecting. Wizard Magazine really seems for the fanboys, and so far it looks like Comic Foundry is going to have a much wider demographic than that. But I'll have a better idea next week after I've had a chance to read through it.
Cool. Okay, but our pick of the week, well, it's all about the Master Chief. Marvel's Halo Uprising by Bendis and Malieve finally premieres. Expect major ponage.
Alright, that's it for Variant Edition Tuesday this week.
But don't forget, we're preparing to attend the Baltimore Comic-Con September 8th and the 9th.
If you're a creator or a publisher and like to talk to us, let us know. You just send Kevin an email and we can set something up.
That's right, we have some big plans for Baltimore. I'm talking like some big plans.
Like huge?
Huge
Like
plans.
like Galactus big?
A little bit smaller than Galactus.
Colossus big?
Big enough.
Okay.
That works. But anyway, we'll fill you in on all of that next week. But before that, don't be surprised to finally see some of our coverage from some of the other cons that we've been attending lately.
This would be because we've been keeping Kevin shackled to his desk until he finishes everything.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get the shackles out, the rolled up newspaper, slapping them on the nose just don't work no more. But, you know, beyond that, didn't we get another viewer sponsor?
As a matter of fact, we did. Naive saw our Sponsor Us link on our webpage, and now here we are reminding you that Variant Edition is made possible through viewers, sponsors like Naive.
Thanks, Naive.
Okay, it's time to go, but before we go, don't forget to check out Comics Podcast Network. It's a great source for some of the coolest comic book-related podcasts out there.
And as usual, watch after our credits for another promo from a show on that network.
Absolutely. But don't forget, there are quite a few ways to watch us here at Variant Edition. You got iTunes, VO, YouTube, and Google Video. And don't forget our new high-res feed from Blip TV. Or head over to variantedition.com and watch us at the source.
I mean, you don't really have to go anywhere besides our site.
Absolutely.
But if you want to, check around. So yeah, that's it for Variant Edition Tuesday. We'll see you next time.
So, Rob, I had this idea for a show where I would cover everything non-superhero.
Yeah, who'd listen to that?
And I would call the show Supernon.
But we like superhero comics, too.
I found that out as I did the show.
It was me that made you realize that.
And I'm a better man for it.
Join Mike and I on Supernaut, the show that's sometimes not about superhero comics, and other times is.
But it's always about something intelligent.
Some of the time, anyways. That's Supernaut at supernautpodcast.com.